Okay. Seeing that it's at 6:30, I would like to call the October 3rd meeting of the Board of the Select Persons to order. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have a quorum with 4 of us. Good to go. The first item on the agenda, I'd like to open the meeting.
Second.
Thank you. I move that we open the meeting. And the first item on the agenda is a public hearing for general assistance maximums. And these have been publicized. We've all had a chance to look at them. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the general assistance material?
New to me. So was there anything that was wildly different this year than previous years?
No, the state provides the maximums. It's a guidance for us. We adopt those as a town, and then when we receive applications, we utilize this information to help us determine eligibility and then at what rates we can hold.
Thank you.
And we get reimbursed.
Yes, we did good. I think it's 70%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great. It's just good to have that for the background. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. So what we'll do is we'll do all the public hearings and then come out of public hearings, and then we'll do the votes on the public hearings.
Well, I think you have to close the public hearing individually for each item.
You think so?
And then just
okay.
the different items.
Okay. Okay, so I move we close the public hearing on general assistance maximums.
Second.
And I move that we re-enter the select persons meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
I thought you were just going back into the next public.
Oh, the next hearing. Oh, I thought you wanted me to vote.
No.
Oh, okay.
You just have to have public hearings separate.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now we will go. I move that we go into public hearing. Thank you, Dan. Dan's a parliamentarian tonight. Okay, for the junkyards permits.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Got to keep me honest here. Now we do have a letter that I would like to read first before we entertain comments from our code enforcement officer, Hans Rasmussen. And he has submitted the following letter: to whom it may concern. In the past year, I have monitored and conducted site visits to the auto graveyards in Belgrade. Both are committed to making improvements. Most recently, I've been working with Vera Mayhew, Environmental Specialist 3 at Bureau of Remediation and Waste Management, Maine Department of Environmental Protection, to correct violations found at 32 Dustin Road, owned by Raymond Frappier. It had been found that Raymond was in violation of the auto graveyard operation standards, had illegal landfill sites and shoreline zone violations.
I think you got that messed up. I got the auto graveyard.
Okay. Can I just read the whole thing first? Oh, just but this concerns both of them. It concerns both, so yeah, it's a little confusing. Ray has corrected the auto graveyard standards of operation violation to now be in compliance. He has eliminated the landfill sites that were not allowed and is working to reduce the number of tires stored on his property. Raymond has corrected a majority of the shoreline zone violation and remains out of compliance. Raymond knows I will be conducting more site visits in the future and has a goal of having all completed before November 3rd, 2023. Francis's auto graveyard has also been working to improve their compliance with the state standards. I will be conducting more site visits in the near future and will engage DEP specialists if necessary. Francis has made improvements in the past year and is working to maintain compliance. I recommend that both permits be extended for the next year. Respectfully submitted, Hans Rasmussen, our code enforcement officer. So since he included both, that's why, it's hard to separate them out. So this does include both references to both applications. So, So we have two applications. And the public hearing is for both of them, so we can consider them both in the same public hearing, correct? Okay, so the first one in our packet is the property owned by Francis Frappier. And does anyone have any questions concerning that? Any questions or comments? Lois?
Is it appropriate?
Can you identify yourself, please?
Lois Hazlett, next door neighbor to Ray's property. Is it appropriate to ask what those improvements were?
We're on Francis right now, and then they're gonna do Raymond's after.
Oh, we're doing Francis now?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the letter is out of order. The letter is backwards. So this is the first application that we have to consider as Francis. Sorry. Yeah, it's a little confusing because our applications are in the opposite order of how Hans wrote his piece. So there's nothing specific. It just says he's been working to improve compliance with state standards.
He has cleaned a lot. This is Valerie Cummings. He has called a lot of things out too, cleaning it up along that few months.
Do you have any specific questions, Lois?
I remember that in years past, one of the problems was that you could see a lot of what was in Francis's place. And this is on the same side as Ray, right?
Yeah.
You don't have another one on the other side, right? Okay. That you could see so much from the road, and which was definitely illegal. So that's been improved, right?
Yeah.
I have a question. It has, so this is about Francis Auto Graveyard. I'm curious if there are any remaining improvements that would be found by Francis to be too difficult to meet, to become in compliance. I'm just wondering if there's anything like that, you know, be a big obstacle. Anybody know?
And you get what they want you to get done.
Can do that, but
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm just curious if any of the remaining things to make improvements on are too big to meet. Like, would they be, do you think you can meet them?
oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I just wanted to know in case you felt something was, you couldn't meet that. All right, thank you.
We can do that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any specifics and we don't have Hans tonight, so.
Right.
That's what I just asked Warner.
Sorry?
I just asked Warner where Hans was. He really should be online so that we can ask some questions.
I've just sent him a message to see if he can zoom in.
He didn't drive the truck to Freiburg, did he? Okay.
No,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, because they're due back
That's right,
momentarily,
they went
that's
to
why.
Freiburg today.
Yeah. So shall we move ahead to the next one? I'm waiting to hear back from Hans.
Yeah.
And so the second permit application is from Raymond for 32 Dustin Drive. And this is the one that has had corrections, but still has corrected a majority of the shoreline zone violation, but a portion remains out of compliance. So I guess that's what we're concerned about. But Raymond's not here to speak to this.
He was invited.
I know he wasn't invited, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Peter?
So in a case like this, when the applicant is not here, what would be the appropriate thing to do with this permit
And don't we require they be here for the vote?
I don't think so, but continue permits. But,
I mean, not for the hearing, but when we go to the vote, if they're here, okay.
no, it's an existing. But again, I'd like to have Hans here so I can ask him what specifics.
Right,
Right.
Definitely haven't been done, so.
I can put that into my comments.
See if we can, something we really ought to be able to,
Our paper said that we had to be here or be online.
very well. I didn't see the paper, so probably should, if it's was listed that way, you should have been on.
Do we, on the Francis Frappier property, what is left to be corrected? Hans isn't here, but do you know what's left to be done?
I've got most of it done, it's just, I had to pick up some stuff over from the house. Debris over it.
Okay,
I had some cars over there that I weren't supposed to have there,
you're right,
so I had to drain them out and take them over one at a time. And that's what my license is,
okay.
and that's what he wanted, and I got most of them gone.
So do you have, I mean, do you have a half a dozen car, I mean, how big a project is it to finish
I
the
probably got
compliance?
6 left. It's gotta go.
Okay, that's why I was just looking to see.
Do you have a time frame when you plan on having those done?
I should have them done before they go in, yeah,
I'm sorry, before when?
before the snow down, I should have.
I know, it's gonna snow early.
didn't feel like it today.
No,
Or it can hang off for a little bit longer, that snow.
what?
That snow can hang off for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay, while we're waiting to see if we can get Hans, does anyone else have any questions?
Royce, did you have concerns on the Raymond Frappier?
Fundraise, every year I come and I ask if there are any changes from, because I haven't seen the application.
Right,
I just usually ask if there are any changes, and ordinarily there aren't any.
and are you seeing, and maybe you can't see an improvement in the condition of the property or not?
Over just the past year?
Yeah.
Or in the past, I think that, he has been working to improve the situation. But I haven't been over there.
Okay, yeah,
And I know that Hans's philosophy is he tries to work with people to get them into
And
compliance.
he talked to me about it, and he said, you know, there are some things that need to happen that maybe in the past haven't been done correctly, but he's trying to get compliance with the state regulations.
okay,
And so the goal for Raymond is to have all corrections completed before November 3rd, 2023. Which is in a month. So I don't know if we would want to table
oh,
this application until,
well, we can complete the hearing, right?
yeah. Yes. Any luck?
I called him 5 times.
Okay,
It just goes to voicemail.
We can close the hearing and
Okay.
then go into second.
so if there are no other comments, questions, concerns, I move that we close the public hearing and re-enter the select board meeting.
Second,
Did I have an answer to the question as to whether there were any changes? Peter, I guess you were here last year, and you had seen the application, and I don't know if anybody has looked at it to compare or not.
Well, we have the application, but you know, there's nothing specific as far as what changes have been made.
There's no indication on there.
Yeah, we don't have any indication of what the specifics were
Right.
that
Hans will have
that
to.
Hans will
that
have
Hans is
those.
concerned about.
I can have him reach out to you.
Do we vote to?
Yeah.
Close this?
Well, he had already contacted me to let me know what was happening. And, so hopefully he'll get back to me.
Okay, so all in favor of leaving the public hearing and re-entering the select board meeting? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses, 1 absent.
Okay, thank you. I'll be back next year.
Well, nice to meet you all. My day was very long. We're going home and I'm gonna cook supper.
Okay,
We're done it before we came.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks for coming in.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.
okay, so I move that we approve and adopt the general assistance maximums for 2023.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 4 yeses, 1 absent. So for the vote on the permits, we have 2 permits. We want to table a vote until we hear back from Hans. When do the permits expire? I guess that's the question.
No. We first together.
Which that's a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce.
Since Francis came to the hearing and the code enforcement didn't come to the hearing, I really feel that you guys probably should at least approve his.
Yeah.
The other one, you know, didn't show, but at least the person that did show for the hearing should, you know, they did their part. It's not their fault that the town didn't do their part.
So my question is, can we approve the permit for a shorter time, for 6 months, to make sure that he's in compliance, or does it have to be approved for the full year?
It would be 1
I
year.
think you're a year.
Has to be for a year? Okay, that was my question.
Reading Hans's letter, one has done quite a bit to clean up and the other is working on improving, and he will be visiting soon
Right.
to review and offer some guidance and that sort of thing to make sure they're in compliance.
What I'd like to do is make a motion to table the vote on this until later. We see if we can get a hold on. I'd like to do at least vote on this one later in the evening, but I'd like to talk to Hans first if we can.
Okay,
Okay. So I can second your motion to table till later in the meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
And all in favor of tabling both of the applications until later in the meeting?
Yes.
Yes, Dan, Carol,
Yes.
Peter?
I'll vote yes.
Okay, so 4 in favor, 1 absent, for tabling the vote on the 2 junk permits. All right, so the next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is the time that people can comment on something that's not otherwise on the agenda. Is there anyone here or online who would like to make a public comment?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
I'm Don Clark. I'm not sure, talking to Rob True, he would like to see speed limit on the Rock Pond Road reduced because of all the numerous, especially on the hill, all the numerous driveways that are there that you can't see. Is this the right time to bring this up?
yes, that's fine.
Okay. I live there and we're not gonna affect everybody because some people don't pay attention to the speed limit anyway. I wouldn't mind seeing it drop to 35 on that curve, probably down to the 21. There's something like 30 odd driveways there.
Between the curve at your dad's house?
Between the curve at my father's house and all the way up, you know, to the old line. I think I counted 37, I could be wrong.
Okay.
Wow.
What's the speed limit now?
I don't even know if it's posted from that side. It's 45 coming from Oakland. It's 25 for the curve.
Oh, so it goes 45 down to 25.
Well, I'm not even, yeah, I don't think there's a curve, I don't think it's posted coming from Oakland for the curve to slow down. There is a 25 sign coming from Belgrade.
Right. Now, Lorna, do you want to comment on this a little bit? Because we did receive it, I know Lorna received
Rob,
information.
Yeah, Rob.
From Rob,
is kind of
true.
Spearheading this.
Right.
Because he's out of state right
And
now.
it's a process.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, good.
I wouldn't mind seeing some sign that says numerous hidden driveways, you know. Like I said, not everyone's gonna pay attention to it. That's the reality.
So, David Allen with DOT is the one who would be my contact. The existing speed limit on McGrath Pond Road is described as follows, starting at the junction of Route 8.
Yep.
McGrath Pond Road and Belgrade Highway Node 27425 and extending easterly and northerly to the Belgrade Oakland Town Line, Highway Node 25479, a total distance of 1.98 miles. If the residents on the road wish to have a speed zone review undertaken, they would first bring the issue to the town. The matter should be discussed in a public forum, typically a select board meeting. If the town agrees and wishes, they can then send a written request to the region traffic engineer requesting a speed zone review. The traffic engineer would then undertake an engineering study to determine the appropriate speed limit on the road. The engineer would look at a number of factors, such as the offset to hazards along the road, development along the road, and crash history over the last 3 years. The crash history is one factor that I could quickly and easily look up. There have only been 2 reported crashes in the last 3 years on this road. 1 run off the road and 1 deer. Neither crash had any injuries. Once the engineering study was completed, a recommendation would be submitted to the commissioner of this department and the head of the Maine State Police for approval. Most studies seem to show no changes warranted, with a few showing the speed limit should be reduced and a few showing it should be increased. So
Well,
I did reach out to DOT to find out what the process was.
Okay, well, that's good to know, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we can do is we can put it on the agenda for a future meeting because the request would have to come from us, but we can't vote on it tonight. Since it's just in public
Okay,
comment.
well, in talking to Rob, he said this was going to be taken up at this meeting, so that's why I'm here.
Oh, well,
That's what he wrote me.
we don't have it. It's not on the agenda, so
Okay.
I don't know that he.
Okay, that's fine, and I
Yeah.
didn't see it, so that's why I'm here.
Right.
All right, so when will your next meeting be, when you put it on?
I have it for the 17th, which is our next meeting.
The 17th? Okay,
It's 2 weeks from tonight.
2 weeks from tonight, 17th of October.
okay, same time, same station.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But thank you for bringing it up in public comment
Well-
because this just gives everybody a heads up.
It's just a little dangerous, you know, especially if you don't know the road, you know,
Right.
there's little trucks backing in, backing out, you know.
Right.
Well-
Rob's my next door neighbor, so
Oh, is it?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So you know,
I knew you from somewhere.
yeah, right. That Lake Association thing.
Yeah, very well.
But this is the appropriate forum to bring it up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's exactly
Okay,
how it gets started.
okay, great. All
Okay,
right, thank you. So it'll be, so the 17th, it will be on this agenda.
And it'll be
I'll
under,
reach out
it'll be
to
under,
Rob and let him know so that he'll be aware and he'll probably share that information with you.
Okay.
yeah, and it'll be on under new business,
Under
so
new business.
we'll have to go through the old business first.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Good to see you. All right, do we have anything else under? Lost my agenda here. Under public comment,
Just the note that,
Sarah.
Sarah Langett is coming back from Freiburg and she said she did have a public comment and she would try to be here before we got to it.
Okay,
However, we want to handle that.
okay, so we can go back to it. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we approve the minutes of the September 19th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion, any other corrections on the minutes?
I reviewed them, nothing jumped out at me.
No, I didn't see anything.
All right. All in favor of approving, Peter?
Yes.
Don, Dan?
Yeah.
Carol?
Yes,
And I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses, 1 absent. Approving the minutes.
Whatever my name is.
Whatever your name is.
Dan Darn.
I went out of order, so messed me up. All right, so now we enter unfinished business, and we have an emergency closing policy that we have looked at before a while ago, but since we had a possible hurricane recently, and we have presumably some winter weather coming, it seemed like a good time to take a look at this emergency closing policy. I move that we open discussion on the emergency closing policy.
Second. Well, I would advocate that we have a policy, because we end up with texting back and forth between, 5 or 6 of us, and my expertise is not on closing
Weather forecasting
and how it affects things. So it would be easier to have a program where 1 or 2 people or 2 people make the decision and we just go with it. And if the program doesn't work, then we come back and adjust it.
Right, and I mean, I think the important thing is that just stating from the start, it's a general policy of the town of Belgrade for town facilities to remain open for business, except during extreme weather events or conditions that would threaten the safety of employees and community members. And I think particularly the safety of employees, because, we can't dictate to townspeople whether or not they should be out on the roads. Our first and foremost concern needs to be for the safety of our own employees. But I mean, I think it's definitely good to keep the safety of community members in mind, but recognizing that, we can't prevent people from going out on roads.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, in the first, in the objective, in the second sentence where it says during such events, the town will close, delay, or alter service. Would it be more appropriate to say the town may close, delay, or alter services? So it's a little bit more conditional. Rather than, I see, will close under, it's under the process outlined below. Okay, so we'll close under the process outlined below. So it would be will.
It would be
will, because we'd only do it under the process below. Have you had a chance to look at this, Bruce?
No, I haven't, not the new one. My biggest concern is you hear it from the taxpayers like last year, and it's nobody's fault, unfortunately, to listen to a weather person, but I say we shouldn't be closing until the storm starts. Close the day before, and then the next day, there's this rain, it does nothing, and then the office is closed. Especially the other thing you guys gotta take into consideration, you guys have knocked it down to a 4-day week. So if you have a snow day, and now you're down to a 3-day week. So it's gonna be, you guys get really much of a decent policy on that. That's a tough one. I mean, there's times that, people shouldn't be on the road, but 95% of the storms we had last winter, there was no reason for us to be closed.
Well, and I think some of that sort of a call, I think just because the state announces they're going to close for the whole state, that does not necessarily mean that we have to follow that suit. That may mean that we do follow suit if we know there's a huge storm and we're going to get hit. And there are times when it's like, yes, and there are other times when the state is closing because it has people in all different places not knowing where they are, and we sort of know where our people are. So I think this would allow for us to have more judgment on our end, and
right.
and not necessarily follow that mandate. And we may find that work or it doesn't work, but I think that's one of the objections I've heard before.
Yeah, Corey, you had a question,
Just a comment. This isn't a black and white issue.
right?
No.
We should be erring on the side of caution. It doesn't matter if we're open 5 days a week, 6 days a week. We're talking about that particular day at that particular time.
Right.
The safety of the staff is more important than keeping the town office open and nobody shows up. That's my opinion.
Well, and this allows for that.
Exactly.
Right.
And it makes it a more streamlined process,
Yep.
I think. Any other comments?
I have one.
Yes.
I like the idea of, having the latitude to make the decision sort of a just in time kind of thing as compared to predicting, well in advance, like, oh my gosh, snow apocalypse is gonna happen, we're gonna close down, allow us to make that decision, by 6 AM. I like that latitude.
Mhm.
I'm in favor of this.
Okay. Are we ready for a motion? I move that we approve the town of Belgrade emergency closing policy as presented.
A second.
All in favor? David?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
We'll try it.
So four yeses.
If it doesn't work, we'll come back and revisit.
Right,
But at least it gives us a policy.
right. None
How
of
I
these
look at it.
policies are set in stone. We can
Yeah.
always go back and change.
Well, what I'd like to see happen is like this, close by 6 AM, I would like make a decision to either, we're gonna open at 10. And that way, if that doesn't work and if the storm gets worse, you can go, all right, we're closing,
Right.
but.
That's a good point.
Let's just kind of feel out the weather and make sure.
Well, yeah, and we can, and use judgment along the way.
Right.
Yep.
Right, because not all storms come at night, right? No, and they don't all come in the day. It's, whatever.
Right, whenever they feel like it.
We try.
We can't control them.
This means I don't have to be a weather forecaster.
Yay.
So before we get too far along for public comment, let's go back to public comment. Sarah, I understand that you had something you want to bring up under public comment.
Oh, I just wanted to, have the select board aware that there was a very nice article in the paper on the facilities of the IRC. So that's all I'm gonna say.
And that's when you sent around to us today?
I sent some comments on last IRC meeting, but this article is in the newspaper, in Central Maine newspaper.
Okay,
So I don't think I sent you a copy of that, but I can.
okay, well, I saw that I had already received a link to it.
Yes. You did send it
I
out.
did, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I haven't had, right, it came late in the afternoon, I didn't have a chance to read it, but I saw that you had sent it, so thank you for sending that. It's always good to have good news from the RSU.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, so back to unfinished business. I move that we open discussion of the Lakes and Natural Resources Committee bylaws update.
Thank you. At our August meeting,
Oh, Pat, can you just identify yourself for the record?
Pat Donahue, chair of the Lakes Committee.
Okay,
I'll
go ahead.
stand my long way. At our August meeting, we brought before the select board our first draft of bylaws. We had some good input from the select board. Particularly, the particular concern was how we elected a chair, what was the timing, and what was the term of the chair. So given that, we have rewritten that section. If you have the bylaws before you.
Yeah, and Pete, Pat, let me just say that the select board has a copy that I put down at your places that has just two very small typos. As Lenny and I were looking over this,
Yeah.
we found two just you know, little typos, one where there was an S that shouldn't be there, and, you know, rather than approve it and have to go back and correct the typos, Lenny just corrected them and printed them out, so the one that's the loose copy is the one that has all the typos.
Oh, and this does not,
Yeah,
okay.
the one that is stapled and not in your book,
That's the right one.
is the correct.
One in your book is bad.
One in your book is bad, it has a bad S and a missing S, other than
Okay,
that, it's perfect.
The sentence before you're listing 1 through 5 says membership shall comprise. Like,
membership shall be,
it just sounds like there's something missing from that sentence.
Well, either comprised or be composed of,
it just says membership shall
Shall
comprise
comprise,
one
yeah.
member.
yeah, and then it lists the various members.
So.
So there are 3 members from each of the lake associations, 1 seasonal resident, and 3 at-large members. And in fact, there are 3 openings at this point on the committee. I'm sorry, Pat, I just wanted everyone to know because I just stuck those in and without an explanation, so.
If you can go to section 4, meetings, officers, and attendance. When you go to the second paragraph, beginning with the word especially, this is where the meat of where we made our only changes, other than grammatical ones that we did, you know, to clean it up. I'll just kind of read through that paragraph and then stop when we made the changes. Specially called meetings may be conducted at other times, dates, and places, so long as they are posted at least 1 week in advance and open to the public. The committee shall meet at least quarterly. We begin the change with, at its first meeting after each annual town meeting, the committee shall determine a meeting time for the coming year. Period. It shall also by a majority vote elect the following. Number 1, a chair to preside over the meeting and report to the select board as necessary. The chair shall not serve more than 4 one-year terms in succession. The question we had from the August meeting was, it didn't really define, you know, there was some confusion.
Yeah,
in the writing,
confusion on
the term of the chair, how they were elected and when. So this, we went through several meetings with these, our Lakes Committee, and we felt that full one-year terms is the best way to go, so we could rotate people and bring new people in. And since this is an advisory committee, where we don't have standing things we must do every meeting, it kind of gives us some flexibility and so forth. So that was the thing, and then from that one, and I thank Lenny for being our wordsmith. He did a great job.
So the vice chair and the secretary can just keep going for 12 years, right?
Yeah. Well, they can do
they can go
they
in,
can go there.
yeah.
Because it's 4
3-year
terms.
for 3 years.
Yeah, 4 3-year terms. So, but the chair gets the vote after 4 terms. Right.
I think that, I mean, that answers the question we had, was trying to figure that out, so. Yeah. I move we adopt the bylaws for the Lakes and Natural Resource Committee of the Town of Belgrade.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes,
I'll vote yes, 4 yeses, 1 absent.
thank you, Pat.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you for helping us. Took a lot to clear up.
Yeah, well, at least you're here and you're not up in Vermont somewhere.
That was bad. I was there in a basement of a hotel and I couldn't hear but a couple of words.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of it too. We've all got a book somewhere with all the different town policies and stuff.
Yeah.
We've changed enough of them lately, so I think we need to bring our books in. And you can get into an area where get them updated, so
Yeah,
we've got the correct stuff.
Absolutely.
right, I think that's a good idea.
Good
Dan.
thought.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. I'll make a note of that, too. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to new business. Fresh from the Freeport bus. We have the report from the rec director.
Super.
Huh? What did I say? Oh, Freiburg. Sorry, did I say Freeport? Sorry.
I'm gonna let Jamie just talk a little bit first about some of the stuff that the board is working on, our rec board. And then I'm gonna hop in after him if that's good.
Great, perfect.
Jamie Dion, I'm the current chair of the Board of Parks and Rec here in Belgrade, fairly new to that role within the last 3 months. We're a board of 7 with 2 alternates, so technically 9. Currently, we have 5 sitting on the board with 2 vacancies. Of those 5, we've got some attendance issues that we're working on, but so we haven't had many votes lately. We haven't had enough for a quorum. But we do have, I believe, 1 application that came in this week, and then I do have two other people that have committed to turning in an application within the next couple of weeks. Folks that are involved in a lot of recreation stuff, especially with Kenneth Workman youth sports. So lately, we've done. We're working on doing more community events within our parks, and I'm sure we'll fill you in on the concert series that just ended, but we just had a community event for the first time over at the Kenneth Workman Field last week. We had a family fun night day where we had a bouncy house. It was kind of coordinated effort with the PTO, Kenneth Workman Youth Sports Programs, the rec board, and the rec department. We had a bouncy house out there. We had an outdoor movie event that we had out there. We did it at very little cost to the town. I believe the only cost was the rental of the bouncy house. Kenneth Workman had the snack shack open, very well stocked. We had a great turnout. I think we had about 50 or 60 people that showed up for a first event with very little advertising. So we're looking at doing more things like that on an either ongoing basis. The next event we have is during Harvest Fest, coming up on the 7th. Flyers been put out on social media. We've been talking amongst the group on advertising these events more with probably a little bit larger posters, maybe here, over at Christie's Days and local businesses, places that people can see the posters. So maybe, you know, a little bit bigger than a sheet of paper, but a cardboard poster, pretty cute print. So we're looking at things like that to promote those events. We also have the Halloween dance party that's a coordinated effort with PTO. We're rekindling and rebuilding a lot of these relationships with other organizations. I coach for Kenneth Workman with the sports program, so I met with the rest of the board and had quite a bit of discussions on how the rec and Kenneth Workman can work together on various projects, including field events, upkeep, and so on and so forth. So that relationship has grown considerably since that meeting. Same with the PTO. I'm also on the PTO, and we're working on just really rekindling all the relationships around that. Other than that, the board's been pretty active, more or less planning these events, coming up with new events. We're in the process of reviewing policies similar to the Lakes and Natural Resources, where we were looking at just in general making changes with terms of the chair position and rotating the chair position to give more opportunities to more of the board members. So we have options within the policies right now, which allows for 2 co-chairs or the chair and vice chair. We're currently doing the chair and vice chair, but we want, one of the things when I took on this role is I wanted to rotate. I want fresh blood in this. So we're looking at things like that, making those changes, which once we get 2 or 3 of us that are looking at that, and we'll present to the board once we come up with those changes. Other than that, any questions from the select board as far as comments, things that like to see from us there?
I think it's great that you're getting KWIS and those groups together so that you're all pulling in the same direction. Yeah, you all have the same ultimate goal.
Exactly, and that was a really good conversation. Corey and his group have been a huge help with, you know, just kind of spearheading things and getting things done and making the fields look a lot better. That if you've driven by lately, it's really
it looks nice.
They've done a lot of work, and that's the way we want it to keep going. We don't want to end up with the town inheriting a property that's run down. So it's I think any board or anywhere you need volunteers right now is really tough to get, and I think K-West is experiencing the same thing the rec board's doing. So we're kind of pooling resources together and doing what's best, I guess, for the kids and for the town, and really utilizing that area.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's been really good.
I drove by there tonight and saw the little guys, little people down there. Running around. It's awfully cute.
Yeah, we did move one of the soccer fields out to the outfield of the ball field, which allows us to utilize lights, because that is one problem this time of year.
Mm.
And we're really working with Oakland and Sydney too. So this year, the grades 5 and 16 will have a game under the lights. So October 21st, if anybody's interested, all these 5th and 6th graders will be out on the turf field in Oakland, and we're making a big event out of it. I'm bringing a PA system out there. We're gonna play the national anthem, announce these kids' names. It's gonna be a huge thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for the energy that you bring into this. Fantastic.
These kids make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can jump on right after Jamie. Jamie has been a lifesaver as far as, I mean, he doesn't give himself enough credit. He brings his own projector with his own projection screen that's inflatable. That's how we watch the movie. If anybody went to the event that the pickleball group put on with the big movie screen at the rec center, that was Jamie's equipment. The Halloween dance, that's all Jamie's equipment. The fog machine, the lights, everything. So without Jamie, a lot of my events wouldn't go the way that they have. So I had to give him a plug because he did a chance to use my toys. So I'll start off by just going over the parks. I'll reiterate Corey's and his crew have done a fantastic job. The parks are looking a lot better than they have. And we did meet, Corey and I met with the Seven Lakes Alliance probably like a month and a half ago at this point, to kind of go over their plans for the parks. They're mostly going to work on making it so the parks aren't washing out, because we do have a lot of washouts in our parks. That would lead to like exactly what Seven Lakes is trying to stop. So you're going to see like blueberry sod getting planted in places. You're going to see more crushed stone so that the water doesn't run right through the dirt and put it into the lakes. And then you're going to see kind of like just spruced up a little bit. I believe they're going to start at Peninsula Park and then work their way around. The programs that we've been doing have seen a huge uptick. Our concert series was hugely attended this year. We had, I believe, one night I counted 400 people. That was for, I can't, that's top of my head, the Soul Sensations. But we had an attendance of over 150 at every other show. So that's as far as the program goes. And we had a lot of buy-in from the community to help support that program. And we have more buy-in to support that program in the future with, unfortunately, George Dills, a bad thing, but his family has really shown an interest in helping that continue for a long time. Summer camp was busy. We had a minimum of 65 kids there on average a week. I had a good staff. I am gonna have staff turnover. That's just inevitable. I did hire on Camille Fontaine. She's a local, she works in Farmington as a teacher, and she was my camp coordinator. So she took over a lot of the day-to-day operations that last year I had to do, which would take me away from being a rec director and focusing on the concert series, the craft fair, rentals, and any other thing that pops up. Our after-school program has started off this year with 35 kids registered for it. Last year, I think we topped out at about 20 kids in the program on any given day. So that we're, our first day of after school program, we had 28 kids. So that has been huge. A lot of younger kids too, a lot of kindergartners. So that's a great resource for the community, first of all, but it also is a good revenue source for the town.
How does can I ask a question? How does this sign up for that work? Do families sign up for the whole week? Do they sign up for certain days?
A lot of people, it's like a set daily schedule. So we have a lot of kids that are, we have one kid who's just Monday, Friday. We have 2 or 3 families that are 5 days a week, every week with 2 or 3 kids. And then we have a lot of kids that are like when the parents need it. So we're very flexible. I have 2 great staff right now that I work really closely with that help run that program, and I've been helping run it because we need it. And yes, it's right now we've been taking advantage of the great weather. The kids have been outside every single day, and we've been getting the kids to do homework too, which the parents love. When your kid gets sent home and they don't have to do reading or they don't have to do math homework, that eliminates the fight that's going to happen at home. And then we can go on to like our day programs. The walking group has started again in the gym. Basically they walk around the gym, they do a mile, they do 22 laps, and they do exercises in between. Doris Mathias has kind of helped lead that program with Kathy Lavasser. I put on music, they do their thing. And then in the meantime, we also have Kenny Beck Music Together, which is like a little kids music program that's not associated necessarily with the rec department, but they do use our space. That has 5 or 6 kids in it. So it's nice to have people that are retired and kids that are pre-K in the facility at the same time. It's kind of the point, I think. And then we have in inclement weather, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we have pickleball. They haven't come back fully because the weather's been so great. Tuesdays, we're offering a yoga class with Susan Bullock, who's on the rec board. She's also a certified yoga teacher. And Wednesdays, we have a fitness class, Fitness and Balance, which the Belgrade Regional Health Center, they're paying for people that are patients of Belgrade Regional Health to go to the fitness class, which is a great partnership. That class between 5 and 10 people each day.
What time is that?
That class is 1 to 2. Hazel wants to do another class, a nighttime class, like a boot camp. So we're going to be putting that out tomorrow to start and next week. So she has a pretty good following. A lot of our instructors have people that will follow them to places, so they're just looking for a place to do a fitness class. And Hazel will be doing this class from 6:30 to 7:30 at night to try to get a different demographic of people into the rec center that can't do daytime stuff. Thursday classes with Julia Galbraith out of Augusta. 15 people consistently go to that class. So that one's a really...
Is that also yoga or?
That's yoga. And then Fridays, again, pickleball. And we rent the rec center on Fridays from 1 to 2 to a homeschool group. They use the social room every week for an hour, and they do a lesson, and then they go out to the playground and play. That's really nice to just kind of fill the time. I am looking to expand more programming with like a Cradles and Crayons or a toddler time. I know that we've had that in the past. I'm just trying to fill my schedule. I like to make money because that's important, but I also like to offer a free program to the residents of Belgrade.
Dan, with the pickleball, it's still down at the Belgrade School in nice weather?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not in both places?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, so they play outside if it's nice out, and they actually communicate with each other. So they'll send a message out to the whole group, hey, we're playing outside today. So that's kind of nice. And then they text me and say, hey, we're not coming today, which is great. We have had a few people who wander in from away, from out of town, saying, oh, where are we playing pickleball today? And I just direct them to go down to the school to play. So that's been, as soon as the weather changes, they will have 15 people playing pickleball every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And we're also going to be reevaluating costs for pickleball and other programs coming into next year because they've never changed. There's never been a change in our programming costs since the rec center was built. So that's like in our policies and procedures, we have to do that.
Yeah, good to look at that.
Yeah. And we're going to be like right now, pickleball's $1 and it doesn't differentiate between residents and non-residents. So that's another thing that my board has brought up, that non-residents should be paying more for pickleball. I mean, it's just, it's more for the residents. You know, like we want them to feel like they're not getting, you know, the people from Sydney or Augusta that are coming should pay more than the resident pays. And we're also entertaining the idea of having like, you pay for the season for pickleball.
Mhm.
You know, you pay a lump sum instead of paying $1 every week. Because a few of the residents have been like, this is ridiculous. And I agree with them, because I enter that $1 every week.
So they pay $1 whether they go to the facility or whether they go to the Belgrade school?
They're like doing a donation collection on their own at the school. Like they suggest that people donate $1 to play at the school to collect for eventually a pickleball, outside pickleball court,
The
the town
construction.
of Belgrade. And they're like, yeah, they have their own, you know, they meet with us, but they collect that and then they put it in an account. And we're working with them to try to navigate this process. We're trying to help guide them, which has been kind of a journey.
They're a pretty independent group.
They're very passionate.
They're very passionate.
Right, right.
Yeah, we don't want, like, you know, we had a meeting recently and, you know, we want them to understand that we're on, like, we want this project to succeed just as much as they do. But we need to work together towards a common goal and we can't be paralleling each other and not meeting. And I think that that's just something that we need to figure out. But we're moving forward.
Great.
I'm gonna move on to some partnerships that I've been working with. I mentioned earlier, the Belgrade Regional Health. You know, paying for their patients to do the fitness class. Seven Lakes Alliance, I mentioned that earlier with the parks. And then, like Jamie had mentioned earlier, working with the PTO for the dance, working with the K-WISP for the family fun night. And then I had a meeting yesterday, or 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with Seven Lakes about working with camp and doing supplemental lessons. Seven Lakes coming in and doing, you know, teaching kids about invasive species. So it would, you know, get community buy-in to their programming and help them foster kids to go to them and work for their crews eventually. And then I had a meeting last week with, or Monday, felt like last week, yesterday, with Wilderness Adventures.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to start doing teenage camps, partnering with the rec center to do like hunter safety, but having the kids get bused from Messalonsky, dropped off at the rec center, and then going and using Camp Loon, a building that is underutilized, and teaching. He's a registered guide, so he can teach all these courses. So we would contract him, he would teach the courses, and then we would get a cut of whatever he's charging for the courses. And he wants to do not just like hunter safety, he wants to do snowmobile safety, he wants to do boater safety, because now anyone born after 1999 has to have a boating safety thing.
Right.
So I think it's like, we're gonna get you ahead of the curve for this, in creating a program that preteens and teenagers are gonna sign up for. And then we're gonna be able to house them at the rec center. And then we talked about having like kind of pop-up camps during vacation weeks where he would do like an ice fishing camp. And we would partner with him on that too, where the kids would get dropped off there, they meet with us, they play, interact with the kids, and then the kids that go to his camp would then go ice fishing, say during February break. Just because we both know that we need to use the natural resources that we have here around the lake. So,
And what's the name of the man who runs that program?
Jason Sear.
Jason Sear. Corey connected us, so.
He's a teacher at vocational school, is that what it's called now? Yeah, he's a teacher there. He has one of the most successful outdoor programs in the state. And I mean, they do all this stuff through the school system. The school has bought them boats, canoes, snowmobiles, ATVs, you name it, the school has bought it, and they've gone to different regional competitions, Bangor, up that way, and done really well. And they also teach a I don't know the name of it, it's a logging class, because we can't get any certified loggers anymore, so they've got kids that are doing this certification through the school, that they can go in and do a wood lot right out of high school.
Through the technical school, so
Yeah.
tracking the technical, that's cool.
It's amazing stuff that he's doing,
Okay,
so.
Yeah, so
Does he live in Belgrade?
He lives right over here in Sydney, and his business is right across the road at the old Belgrade Canoe Kayak.
Okay.
yeah, I'm really working on reaching out to other people in the community that have programs or like other, you know, like Seven Lakes. Because I feel like it's crazy that we don't work together towards a common goal. Jamie just gave me a few pointers. We did have someone approach the rec center recently about potentially donating an ice rink to the town. Like one that's similar to what they have in Waterville. They previously donated one to the city of Waterville, and they were interested in donating one to us. Jamie and I have talked with the Kenneth Workman Field's already having lights, and there's a water main there. That would be a really good place. And I briefly talked to Corey about the ability to plow that parking lot and then having someone from facilities be able to clear the ice. And where he has more staff now, it would be something that we'd have to talk about before we can say yes. That's something that I'm learning.
that's a good thing.
I told the person, I was like, I have to go and communicate with Lorna and Corey and my rec board before I can tell you absolutely. But I do think it's something that we should look into. And I know people say like the lakes, we have the lakes, you know, you can skate on the lakes, but
Yeah, get them cleared.
there's, you know, a skating rink under lights that could be open during vacation weeks is a huge benefit.
Right.
And if we have people from K-Wisp that are already, I think you had mentioned that someone was like, I will clear that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of interest, and usually those when Dan throws me ideas, I tell him, all right, what are you gonna do with this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of towns, the hockey kids could help with that. So these are all things that we work together as a board to figure out and overcome obstacles such as clearing, flooding, and all that. And to see if this is something that's even feasible, but there's, they call it easy rink kits. That he's looking at donating, it's $5,000, I think he's looking at donating.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a lot of ways that go along with it, you know. So we need to put all that together and bring to the select board to see if there's some towns interested in doing that. This was just brought up, I think.
Last week. Yeah, last week someone came into my office and was like, we should have a skating rink. I was like, hey, that's great.
Yes.
One second.
Yeah, that's one thing we do as a board. We want to make sure that the town does put a lot into the rec budget. So we want to make sure we're good stewards of those funds and that, you know, we'll be responsible with any of the funds that we utilize. And if we take on projects, they're at little to no cost to the community, but the community gets a good result out of it. One of our big things.
No, not only that, I mean, have an ice rink down there, which I don't have a problem with. We've also got a snack shack that they actually could open up, yes, during Saturdays or Sundays or whatever, and make a few extra dollars to help support. You know,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was when we had the movie night, the family fun night, and the farmers, Jacob Farmer, who had just applied to be on the rec board.
Yeah.
Him and his wife were running the snack shack, and I had never been there. I mean, I'm having children, so I'm not going down to the snack shack during soccer. But it was so cool to see that place operating because they were like, I mean, I spent way too much money, but it's going back to K-Wisp. So it's like, no, I don't feel bad about buying way too many burgers and hot dogs. And I'm mostly vegan at home, so.
No wonder you were eating those hamburgers.
And that's one of the big points is if we can get that operating, then that becomes like potentially a revenue source that's completely dead in the wintertime. That K-Wisp could then, I mean, it's, you know, on a good Saturday during vacation week or during vacation week, if the snack shack was open on Wednesday and they announced it, you you could make a few $100.
Oh, the wheels are already turning. We kind of had an initial conversation of, would Gateway be interested in doing anything like this? And I haven't talked to the board, just Jay with and now it's like, oh, we can insulate this, we can do this. So the wheels are turning, but there's a lot of interest, I think, in the community and I think we need to get the word out more that, hey, we've talked about creating kind of a subcommittee because there's a lot of Rome residents, there's a lot of other folks that want to be involved in planning some of these events, but they can't be on the board. So we're looking at, an event planning committee that would be a subcommittee, wouldn't be doing any official business, but when we have events like these family fun nights, these type of things, they can be involved in the planning piece. So that's something we've been talking about for a little while, working off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had a woman who brought in paperwork to be on the Belgrade rec board, but she's a Rome resident, so she couldn't be on there.
Oh, trust me, we try and recruit everywhere we go, and they're like, oh, we live in Belgrade. Oh, we live in Belgrade.
Well, but it would be nice to have a way that they could get involved.
Right, so they could have some input on some of the events without.
And that's why we want to have like this event committee,
Yeah.
or event, whatever.
Just volunteers to help, yeah.
Because we have a lot of buy-in right now, and we need to keep that going and give them a purpose.
Absolutely.
Well, with Parks and Rec, COVID changed a lot of things, and the interest in outdoor and recreation events went way up. We just want to keep that momentum going in town and not see it wane up.
Some of these events too, not real way that you understand, considering talking to some of these food truck people.
Yes.
Partnering with them so that they make X amount of dollars and they pay you anything over a certain amount. Bring out a food truck to a movie night or bring.
That's great.
And that was one of the things that when we look into next summer for our, I'm surprised with myself that I did this, but I made questionnaires at the end of the concert series season.
Right.
And I had people fill them out at the concert. And one of the big things was people want a food truck at those. Yeah. And people also want a food truck at the craft fair. Not only would it make money, but it would also draw in more people for our vendors. And when we have vendors sign up for every single craft fair, you got 30 vendors paying $50. When we have a full craft fair, it's good for everyone.
It'd be great to have a place to park one of those food trucks close to the village green.
That'd be great.
Gee, like parking space available.
Like a parking lot right beside the village green.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Multiple food trucks. Yeah, and I don't know.
We found out you can book those food trucks like a year in advance. They're booked up solid.
I don't know if you've looked at our revenue at the rec department, but right now we're sitting at like 20,000 over our anticipated revenue from last year. So I think I'm gonna guess probably 100,000 this year. Where my anticipated revenue was 69,000. And it takes a lot. I have a really good staff. My summer camp staff was fantastic. Jamie, Susan, Linda, and Jessica have been great on my rec board. Each of them is showing up at different events, not necessarily all at one, but Barbara was there, and there was over 2,000 eggs that we hid for the Easter egg hunt. And that was Jessica and her family that showed up at 7 o'clock in the morning to hide Easter eggs. Like, that's a lot of work. Jamie gets the cake as the workhorse of the group, but Susan Bolduck, she's always there at the end of the night picking up the chairs. Her and her husband came and picked up the chairs and tables. So those things are and Linda just has so much knowledge on Belgrade recreation and programming and things that have worked and haven't worked in the past. So it takes a village to run a rec department.
It's also been nice to see things like the author talk, the Paul Dora and author talk, to see how many people came to the center for that event.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said earlier, like the partnerships that I'm forming, Jared did a great job this summer. He got Mr. Drew and his animals to do an event during summer camp, but the public was also able to come. I mean, there was like 20 people from the public that were kind of segregated from the camp, but we still had people from the public seeing the program that we're running. And it's a good look. I'm always about the good luck. Like, is this a good look or bad luck? And that was a really good look. And then he also got Mad Science to come in. And I've also had someone else approach me, Seven Lakes said that they would pay to have someone like Chewonki come in and do
I was gonna say
something.
Chewonki would be great up there.
So it's just building the bridges that for some reason, have been broken down at some point, not burned completely, but, just reconnecting to those people.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was
Right.
because of COVID, everything just
Right.
came to a halt for a couple of years, so it just takes time to get that all back on.
And
back in
today we had 38 people on our trip to the Freiburg Fair, which last year we had 25. So that's a huge improvement. And it just so happened that one of the people that was on the trip with his parents works for the Aging Alliance of Maine, something like that. And he made me aware of funds that I can get from Spectrum Unlimited to get buses for seniors for trips. So then that would take money away from the budget. And then we could do more trips for Belgrade residents and the greater Belgrade area. Which was just a stroke of luck that he was on the bus and he was like, this is a great trip. How'd you organize this? And then gave me more information. And yeah.
We've been
Great.
talking about expanding into more arts programs too, over at the community center for the kids and for adults. Talking about jam nights, open mic nights for music, talking about getting some new staging to replace the old ones for some drama performances for the kids, those types of things. So we've always got ideas, irons in the fire.
Yeah, it's been busy, but it's been super. It's been a blast. I mean, last year I was a little stressed out, but this year it's been, more manageable. And and again, we got to applaud Christine Polson. We're so lucky to have her in our community. She is subbed out to Turner, to Norwich Walk, she is subbed out to multiple communities in running their concert series, but she is invested in ours, which is huge.
Yeah, she's done a great job.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and I can answer any questions, I'm totally prepared.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jamie. It's just great to hear all this.
And I forgot to say this. Barring any natural disasters, our pool will be open 2 weeks before camp starts. Guaranteed. And we're gonna get a pool vacuum, so that should eliminate 150 hours of work for me and my lifeguards. Good. So.
I love the little salt vacuum. I got one out. Drop it in, burn the walk away. Works great.
And the people at Travis Mills have been so helpful with the pool maintenance and management. They have a pool similar, theirs is, I think it's indoors.
Yeah, big indoor.
And it's not necessarily the same as ours. They don't encounter the same issues that we do because it's a different climate and environment. But Brad Duplessis over there, he has kids that go to camp, but he is I'm like, Brad, I'm having this issue today. And he's like, do this, this, and this. So I do it. My numbers are great. And they're going to be giving us a ton of algicide, which is pretty expensive because they can't use it in their pool because it makes their metal turn green. So a lot of good things of working with just people. So
good.
If we get that up and running, maybe we can get it so we can do one night a week as an open swim for the residents. I've heard about that a few times.
Yeah, somebody asked about swim lessons, but
I think there might be something good.
no, that's on the radar, is having two nights a week that we would stop, because camp really stops using the pool around 3:30. But I still have lifeguards that are usually on duty just being support staff at that point. But I want to utilize them as lifeguards the whole time they're there. And I'm also, because the world's not enough, I'm planning on becoming a certified lifeguard. Because why not put another feather in my hat? So then we'd be flexible, and I want to see the pool used the whole summer, every single day. And I'd like to open it to rentals, because we do have that in our policies and procedures, but I haven't touched that with a 10-foot pole until I was sure that it was perfect. So.
Any other questions for Dan?
No, good
Or
job.
Jamie? Okay,
And
thank you guys. Thank you very much.
You guys are great.
Who's driving your bus down Freiburg?
We use Sear bus lines.
It's not hard. He hasn't provided.
But Corey said that he'll drive the bus anytime.
Well, we're trying to find Hans. So I'm just wondering if Hans was driving the bus.
No, it was a guy named Craig. He was great. Craig was great. And we had 6 people that weren't residents that paid to go on the bus trip, $25 a pop. So that's not huge, cool, recoup of costs, but it is recouping money. So.
Nice, good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm.
It's great to see that energy.
Between the two of us, we got more energy than
You two are a good team.
Yeah, both have ADHD.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I don't want to wait too long, so this thing on.
Yeah. All right, I move that we open discussion of appointments and resignations.
Second.
We have one resignation from Regina Coppins resigning from the Communications Committee. So I would like to move that we accept Regina's resignation with regret.
With deep
And-
regret.
Deep regret, and send her a certificate.
Yeah.
Thanking her for her service, because she really has done a lot for communications, and she will continue to do the candidate forums.
Candidate forums.
Yeah. She said she would do that. She'd like to find someone to help her. She'll do that without being on the committee.
Good.
Yeah. So all in favor,
Second that.
oh, second that, thank you.
Yeah.
All in favor of accepting Regina's resignation, Peter,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan? Okay, 4 in favor, 1 absent. We just accepted Regina's resignation from the Communications Committee with deep regret.
Okay. He's gonna zoom in.
Sorry.
Is he gonna do that now?
Yeah, he said he was just gonna get the link and
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
We accepted it. Send her a certificate.
Okay. Yep. There he is.
Hello, Hans.
All right, hello.
We had some questions about the junkyard permits.
Okay,
So thanks for coming on. And Lois raised the question of what improvements had been made, particularly for Raymond, because Raymond was not here. Francis
He's
was
not.
here. Raymond did
Okay.
not attend.
so Raymond had construction debris deposited in various places around his facility. According to the rules, he's allowed 1 landfill site for construction debris that is generated on site on his property. And that site can be up to 1 acre. So what he needed to do is basically pull out and consolidate his landfill waste, byproducts of his shenanigans there, to 1 location rather than being scattered. He was trying to fill in low spots and do things like that. And that's why I had Vera come out from the DEP, because waste management is her area of expertise. and she surveyed the property and basically found other things, like he was over his limit of tires. He used to have an auto repair business in which he was allowed to have more unused tires, basically waste tires on site. Now he's over his allotment for a auto graveyard, so he's reducing those numbers, but he's centralized the tires to basically 2 locations, 1 usable tires, 1 unusable tires, and he's using connections that she provided to dispose of those tires. He's pulled out a lot of waste to dump, basically having hauled off in dumpsters that was not allowable in the landfill part of the business. So basically he's cleaning up his junkyard and disposing of the waste that's not allowed to be there.
So basically what he's got left is just getting rid of tires. Everything else is in pretty good shape.
That, and he has 1 construction debris pile that is about half inside of shoreline zone. So he's right at the 250-foot mark from the water's edge. And he's still working to remove that, but he's removed other debris piles. And this is basically construction. It's wood. And he's separating out the painted wood from the unpainted wood. So he knows what needs to be, what can be burned, what can be buried, and what needs to be hauled away. And he's been working hard the past 30 days to avoid the penalties. So
and
he's done more he's done way more than I thought he would get done.
On Francis's, they said what they had left was something like moving 6 cars. Is that basically correct?
According to Francis, probably yes. I still need to go have a look at that site. You know, he had a laundry list of things he needed to get done, and he's mostly in compliance, but I just need to check and make sure the progress is going the right direction. Raymond's case, the past year, you know, he kind of went the wrong direction, and that's why I pulled in Vera to make him realize the severity of what he was doing.
So Hans, you mentioned that the goal for Raymond is to have all the corrections completed before November 3rd. So is that likely to happen?
It is. We had a site visit today, and I told him he had 30 more days to remediate the trash that is half in the shoreline zone area. But, you know, Vera's position is the whole pile needed to be moved because he's only allowed 1 site, and that site wasn't the one. So he will move the whole pile, and he will do it to the standards that she outlined for him. As far as the auto graveyard is concerned, he did have a lot of vehicles that were questionable as far as their origin and the documentation that goes with them. He's centralized them to 1 area. He has them labeled. So he's aware that, you know, the state police, if they come in to inspect, because they're over the auto graveyard department, they would need documentation to prove the ownership and the chain of custody of all the vehicles. So he knows he's under some pressure, and he's working hard to get it straightened out.
Okay, Peter had a question.
Yeah, I have a question. Hi, Hans. Thanks for coming in tonight. The question I have is about Francis's. Tonight we were talking about a timeline for him too, and I think the answer that he gave was by snowfall. Does that sound right?
By winter. By
winter.
winter, he said he should have all of his cars moved.
So I guess the question for you is that realistic, whatever that is? And is that, and second question is that in alignment with your thinking?
Yes, I've been waiting for the change of seasons because he has some wooded areas where vehicles were that they shouldn't have been. And with the leaves off the trees, I'll be able to see more deeply into the wooded areas. And probably, we'll have this conversation again next year with other issues.
Thank you, Hans.
But the thing is, if we pull the permit, we have no leverage.
So we pull the permit, he can do whatever he wants. Is that what you're saying?
No, we kind of take away his outlets for disposing of the vehicles. Now he's a permitted auto graveyard. He can take them to a scrap dealer.
I see.
And the scrap dealers don't just take cars from anybody because of the illegal, chop shops and so forth. So with his license, he's allowed to dispose of the vehicles. So my goal is to have him take care of the questionable vehicles and then start working on the ones that aren't so questionable.
Okay, and that's for Raymond.
That is for Francis.
Francis, okay, Francis. Okay.
So there's a benefit in having both of these permitted.
Exactly. It gives me a tool to use.
Good.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions?
Nope, I do.
Okay.
You do.
No, the only other thing I want to talk about before we vote on these is we need to decide formally whether the people have to be here for the permit or not. I mean, if our paperwork is saying you have to be there, then you have to be there. So we need to.
Does this say it has to be?
I didn't see anything on the application, but I don't know what the notice was that was sent to them.
You know, Hans, were they required to be here or be on Zoom?
I don't know. Ray did ask me today if he was required to be here, and I told him I don't know. But the way he's been pushing himself lately, he's probably asleep on the couch.
I don't know that whole thing.
Because Francis's wife, Val, said that, was that her name, Val? Said that they were told to come either in person or by Zoom. So it probably would have been the same.
Well, do you want to give a provision? I don't know if there's rules for provisional, but give him the 30 days to see if he's compliant in 30 days and have him show up at the first meeting in November. Is that an option?
When does his permit run out?
Okay.
Yesterday. I think it was October 2nd. So I think officially, yeah. Is Mary there? Does she know?
No, she's not here. No.
I mean, my sense on this is if there's a way to do a conditional one, that makes me feel better. But that being said, I also have to respect what you're trying to accomplish there.
Yeah. Yeah, Bruce has a question.
Just a comment. In years past, they've been required to be at the public hearing if they're in for the vote if they're not there, if it was been tabled.
Well, I'm going to take 50% of the responsibility for him not being there because when he asked me, I said I really didn't know. I don't know what the letter that was sent to him was. A year ago was my first time. I was 1 week into this job, and basically, I said, "Let me work on these and assess the situation." So I've assessed it. I've worked on them for the past year. I believe a year from today, we'll have a different type of discussion.
And I had just one. Hans has been working out. As a taxpayer, I feel comfortable with what Hans is saying because Hans has been working really hard with them and been making sure they're getting in compliance. So, I think, Hans' recommendations with this letter in person, I think is more than, as a taxpayer, I think.
Right.
What I'd like to see is I don't have a problem with just issuing the permits tonight and being done with it, but I would like to see the applications have it printed right on your requirement for next time, so that it's put on there right away.
Mhm.
And if it's on the application, you're required to attend either in person or so.
All of our other, applications, just about for anything we do require.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
So it's not on here,
Let's get
not
it written
clear.
down, because if he asked Hans and Hans didn't know, then
Right.
I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a note with that.
We get it on there and it's in writing and they have to sign the permit, then they know they have to be there.
Agreed.
Well, and shouldn't we have these applications at the end of August? So that you can have a public hearing and look at them in September, if they run out October 2nd? You should, I think,
Yeah, well,
back that up.
Yeah, we shouldn't have permit for something that's already
You know,
running.
if all of a sudden, oops, so just as we're looking at this, back it up, so we're not sitting here when they technically don't have a permit.
Right.
Good point too.
I agree.
And that's an August one, and I know it's busy time and.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
It's always busy.
Any other comments? I move that we approve the application for automobile graveyard and or junkyard permit to Francis Frappier for the property at 242 Oakland Road in Belgrade.
Second,
All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
yes,
I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses, 1 absent. And I move that we approve the application for automobile graveyard and or junkyard for Raymond Frappier at 32 Dustin Drive in Belgrade.
second,
All in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses, 1 absent.
And Hans, thank you so much for your work with these two applicants to get them into compliance.
Well, thank you, and you're quite welcome. It's been an experience, and I gotta say, I kind of enjoyed it, the learning part of it.
Good.
Okay,
All right,
Thank
keep it up.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Hans.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Thank
Mom.
you.
thank you.
I know.
Okay, I move that we open discussion on a workplace bullying prevention policy.
Second,
Lauren, would you like to talk us through this?
So we do have harassment policy, but bullying is different. Harassment is usually a legal term. Bullying is not. And bullying covers a different scope of behavior than what we traditionally think of as harassment. We usually think of sexual harassment. This is a policy that I wrote for Franklin County. They adopted when I was working for them. It's one of the policies we don't have in place. So as I go through our personal handbook, trying to identify things that we don't have that we need that would be good for us to have in place. And this is one of them. And I also included in your packet, if you had time to read, what is the difference between bullying and harassment? And I think oftentimes, somebody might say something or do something and they don't even realize that it might be considered bullying. It's just being super respectful in the workplace.
I sort of think of it like the learning curve when we all learned different interpretations of definitions of sexual harassment. It wasn't just the physical, it was the inappropriate. It was listening to other people talk about things that are inappropriate or telling jokes. I mean, a lot of that stuff that you're thinking, and that was a learning curve we all have done. And I think on bullying, as you read through some of these examples, you're like, some of them are obvious and others are like, oh, okay. And I think it's just a real good piece to have so that people are aware of like, well, I didn't think anything of that. Well, it's here to look at and say, you need to be appropriate on these.
And would there be education to go along with this policy?
I've been doing some research for what is available, and I know that Peter might have some resources, and I would be happy to work with Peter on it to come up with some good solutions that would benefit our employees.
Bruce?
On our Super Sunday, Jeremy does touch on the bullying too.
Does he?
Yeah, so
Excellent.
he may be a resource to reach
I'll
out.
make
He
a
may
note
have
of
a
that.
program for that.
Awesome.
Jeremy's great.
Yeah.
He's worked with both Kate and Scott, my daughter and husband, many occasions.
So at this time, we have no such policy in place that's like shaped like this. So thank you so much for bringing this forward, shaping something that could be presented and talking about. I'm thinking at this time, and there might be more comments, but adopting this, maybe with some minor revisions would be my goal. And I'd like to supplement it with any type of training opportunities that would support it. So that would be my thing. And something that would not cost the taxpayers anything, if at all possible.
Right, agree.
It's very difficult to do that, but if there's a way, that'd be great.
Do you have any particular revisions that you would suggest?
I saw none.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done. You said this is in Franklin County?
Yes, we
Yeah.
adopted this policy
Okay, so-
a few years ago.
So it's one they sort of vetted through and,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. Corey?
I haven't read it, seen it or anything, but I have one question. Is this for town employees or is this for elected officials? Is this for board members? You know, does it encompass everybody that does business in this town under some sort of official title, or is it just for town employees? Because it needs to cover everyone.
I think it should cover the same way sexual harassment does.
Yeah, it would be
Just wanna
for,
make sure
It would be,
for everyone.
it would be if
That's
you're a board member on a committee, that you're not bullying another
Yeah.
person you
I just wanna
interact with.
make it so that it's across the board,
Yeah.
because there's things that happen in this town that have no business happening. Right, so.
Isn't most policies all through for everything in town? Is that my understanding? I thought.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Applies to everybody.
Yeah, so, yeah, so that's what I was 100% sure.
Good.
But do we need to does the harassment policy specify that it's not just stuff, that it's for, which is the one that talks about vendor, I remember we had discussion about.
About the
including
vendor,
vendors.
yeah.
It's
That's
harassment.
That's
It's
harassment.
not sexual harassment.
It's just harassment, but maybe we should,
And actually, these two policies should be.
Together.
Combined.
That's how we do it with the fire department is basically, I mean, it's not called bullying, but I mean, the examples that you have is put into our training on our Super Sunday, the examples, I mean.
Yeah.
In Germany, you know, and it's all read from something from the state, I mean, it comes from the Department of Labor and,
yeah,
you know.
Harassment is and bullying are different.
Right.
But it should be part of the same policy.
Should be.
yeah, but it's the same behavior, but as I understand from your handout, the harassment is against people in protected classes.
Yes, and bullying is
And
not.
bullying
No.
is general.
That's why harassment is a legal
Right,
issue. There's, and bullying
Bullying,
it's different.
bullying can be illegal issue too.
Right,
Most companies I've ever worked for, it's all one policy.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If we have a copy of the harassment policy to see how it specifies who it pertains to, and maybe just be more specific as it is in the harassment
I
policy.
think if we combine the two, we've already done on all our committee applications, if you have to take the policy. If it's a combined policy, they have to sign off on all of them.
Right.
Mhm.
you're killing two birds with one stone, basically.
That would be easy enough to have.
You know, this can just be a subsection of the harassment policy, but it's all one
Right, all in
policy.
one policy. Bullying,
Right, with
bullying
today's
and
society,
harassment.
I think it's a needed thing, I really do.
Or if we change our policy, this is a policy on bullying and harassment. So it's labeled so that
Change
the
the title.
yeah, change the title, so it's two different entities, we update it, and then it's all there. So it's really not changing anything, it's just incorporating it, so it's a policy on that behavior towards other people.
Bullying.
Yeah,
And it's just section 1 covers harassment, section 2 covers bullying,
yeah,
and it becomes one policy.
yeah.
So we could add that right at the very beginning and just change.
Yeah.
Change the name.
Right.
Yeah,
Question, do we have a rules of behavior policy?
I don't think we have anything.
Okay, and I'm not suggesting that we have to, I'm just curious, because that, to me, feels like an umbrella
Yeah,
type of thing that this could fit in nicely to.
workplace violence
Yeah.
fits in as well.
And I'm also thinking electronically, you know, how
Well,
does
we do
this,
have an electronic policy. don't we?
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing about that, I'm just saying, this applies
Mm-hmm.
to electronic stuff too.
yeah, that's why, the sign of the times about circulating videos in social media, I'm like, who would have thought of that
Exactly.
I
Right.
mean, and
20
the other-
years ago?
And some of this stuff, Word may have it in his book, is Lynn does some of this stuff too.
Yeah, mine.
There's a lot of that, some of that stuff, you know, like I said, most of that stuff comes right from Department of Labor, Fire and Rescue. But Lynn, it's stuff that we have to train on every year, we have to sign off on it every single year. You know, unfortunately, Fire and Rescue is put at a higher level
Right.
than other town employees, but we have to do it every year, where you guys only have to do it, I think, every 3 years or something like that.
Could we behave better?
So do we want to just combine them, bring them back and do it
Look
next
at that,
meeting, or
look at
we
it as a
want to?
combined policy.
I'd like to have it all together. That way it's a combined policy, but like I said, you might even want to look at the use of having our electronic media, you know, computer usage and everything else all part of, you know, subsections of policy.
Sure, anything to reference the correct behavior that's expected by any town employee. If there was a way for that to be referenced in this policy that's gonna be combined, it's wanted to suggest to lay it out there if possible.
Take a look at it.
So I guess my sense is, I think the sooner we get these things in place, the better we are.
Mhm.
Yes.
That if we try to put the two of them together and get it passed, because the others, to me, is a bigger project and we're
Yes.
coming into budget time. That's
Yes.
my concern, that,
Yeah, and that's.
yeah, and that be something we look at. Do we have a personal code of behavior that maybe that takes us 2 or 3 months to get together, but we at least get this and harassment together, so we've got that policy nailed down.
Yeah, and I think that we could do that at the next meeting.
Yeah,
I think so.
easy enough just
And we
to
can, do you
reword
think that we
it.
can combine these two and then
Mm.
approve the combined policy in 2 weeks?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and get it on the agenda, get it done.
Bruce?
Just the other thing, and I'm not advocating against anything, any of these policies that are gonna change or be incorporated, try to get them squared away, so Laura can notify Dan and Travis, so they can get stuff prepared for Super Sunday, because that, you know, of course, that's when the bulk of us get all.
We have a department head meeting Thursday.
Do you have a date for Super Sunday? So,
It's usually the first, Sunday in March, usually.
in March,
Yeah.
okay.
So that would give us time to get those other policies.
It's that, you know, because it takes Jeremy, it takes Dan and Travis time to get.
Most of the stuff from fire department's already gonna encompass all this.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean.
Unless we come up with something completely off the wall, right, we're
Yeah.
already doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think this is a great improvement, and as my friend at work would say, is better than not better, right?
Right.
We don't have to get perfection right this second, but
Get it in
keep making
place.
steps, you know, keep improving. That's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah, I think this is important.
Yeah, I do, to get in, and then we can always revise when. And as more policies we're finding we need or don't need. We'll just keep doing them as we do.
Yep. Okay.
And we just have one policy that says, mind your own business and do stuff.
Just do
How
your
about
job.
be nice? Be nice.
I second that.
Yeah. Or is it be kind? What's the one? Be nice.
Be nice
Be
and do
kind.
your job.
Just go to work, do your job and be nice.
We're gonna have a book that reads.
Wow, you see Lynn's book, it's that,
Oh, geez.
it
Yeah.
really is.
Oh,
It takes two people to get it downstairs.
oh,
Oh, you're not going?
I just.
Maybe we take like a 2-minute.
Sure. I move we take a 2-minute break.
Second that.
Okay,
Right.
7th inning stretch.
Okay, yes.
We're ready.
All right. Okay, do we have anything under other business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary mentioned to me today, we have a very small, $80 approximately left in an account called the Town Office Beautification Account. We would like to utilize that money, 2 reasons. Close out the account, get rid of it, but to put a tree in. I think 1 or 2 died on the drive as you're leaving the town office on the right-hand side.
Oh, I thought you were gonna use it for plants in front of the,
I thought you were gonna beautify the town office.
Yeah.
Which is really bad.
I thought
Sorry.
you were gonna use it opposite the memorial.
But there's about $80 and we would just like to be able to utilize that.
That might pay for half a trip.
And get rid of
Yeah.
that account.
If you can't find the tree you like, let's buy stuff for this side of the building,
Yeah.
get rid of the account.
Yeah. So do we need to vote on this?
I would.
It's from a
It's
special
I would
account.
assume
It's
it's
closing out a
almost like a
special.
reserve or
It's
some
closing
sort
out
of
it's a special
It is
account.
a special
Didn't
account.
even know it was existed.
Town office beautification.
Yeah,
It's in our town report. It's
Right.
listed.
right.
I
Okay.
move we close out the town office beautification fund and use the monies
Beautification.
To beautify the town
town
office.
office and properties that leaves it open.
I'll second that. All in favor, Peter,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses in favor of $80 for beautification, trees, shrubs, whatever.
Work your magic, Cory.
Yeah,
And
Sales coming right now.
there's, get 2 trees this tall.
Yeah.
Corey wanted to give a quick update on Dalton.
Oh, we did?
Yep.
Well, we got, I guess the question is gonna be boiled down to is we got 3 quotes, or we will have 3 quotes probably by Friday. For the whole remediation, one was 22,000, one was a little over 25,000. And if this guy from Surf Pro knows what he's talking about, he's saying it's gonna be 30,000. So we need to decide which direction we wanna do. Do we want to close the building for the winter, drain the pipes, make it so we're not gonna get any more damage, and then bring it before voters? Because we're talking 21 to 30,000 for that. Once she's done, you gotta redo the insulation, that's 5,000 plus. You gotta remodel the bathroom because they are going to gut the bathroom, totally. We still need some pump, furnace repair, oil tank needs to be replaced. Cabinets are gonna have to be fixed. We need a new ladder that goes up into the attic. When we were up in there yesterday, that's pretty sketchy. So we don't want that causing somebody having an accident and then we get a lawsuit on that. Living room window within the next year or so is gonna have to be replaced, and that's one of those big 6-7 foot wide windows. The floor in the porch. We've pulled up the rug,
It's
looked
awful.
underneath it. Yep. So there is probably, every time you go, it rains, we go over there and we look, there's no less than 10 or 12 leaks pushing up through the foundation. So we're gonna have to deal with that, or hopefully the sump pump will take care of it on a regular basis, but driveway has got a big stone coming up through it that I noticed this spring. And the building around the building is just piled a bunch of bark there that they never should have piled there. Just causing more damage than it's worth, but we need some sort of direction. Because the cost of what I'm looking at here, none of us will be working here by the time we start making money off this building. So,
and the other thing, if we don't put a sub pump in, that's gonna flood.
it's gonna flood, no doubt about it, every time it rains, which from looking through things, there's no culvert behind Dalton. So whether there used to be a culvert there, that Dalton Lane, there's no culvert there. So if you're looking down towards the lake, the left-hand side has always got water in it. So that water is making their way to the basement. So that would be something that would have to be addressed too. I mean, this thing is a money pit. Plain and simple, and we need some sort of direction as to what you would like to do.
There's a lot of money.
I've had enough of that house. I've had enough of all that property.
I have too.
I don't think we'd ever recoup what we were going to.
Well, because then you're gonna have your appliances that are gonna have to be replaced, then you're gonna have to repaint the building.
I'm
and
thinking
then-
you'd have to do drainage around it.
And at the
like
end
we
of
did
it, you
on
still
my-
have an ugly building.
You're gonna have to put probably down near $100,000 on this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Crazy.
I think we're throwing good money after bad.
So, I mean, I think how it was worded in the article, and you'd have to ask Mary on this, because I'm not a legal person. I think how it was worded in the article, it has to go back to the voters, and the voters have to make a decision to.
I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
I'm thinking, we
My
had that
recommendation
discussion
is-
once before, and that
Yeah.
was have to go to the voters.
Yeah.
I wish we would have known last fall the extent of the mold that had produced itself up in the attic and stuff like that before we addressed some of this stuff. But it was hidden, and when we started taking the bathroom apart to fix things.
Good question. With the mold, is any of it covered under insurance?
That's the question I had,
I don't know, we can check. Because it's been flooded since I've been here.
In
Why not?
general, insurance covers sudden and accidental. Mold
Not
accumulating
this is-
over years is not
Right.
sudden and accidental.
I doubt it would.
I'd be very surprised. Commercial policy, there might be some different wording. Worth checking, just
Mold.
to make sure.
The mold, regardless of the mold, the cost is still astronomical as far as to get it up to snuff. It really is. And the longer it sits there,
the
the
worst.
worse it gets.
I
So
mean, the
if
mechanical
we,
side of it, the insurance, if the insurance does cover it, they'll cover the heating system, they'll cover the bathroom. So that would be all into, if insurance covers it, that's your biggest thing.
I don't think.
so if we drain the building, shut everything down, we'd have to still put a sump pump in so that it, until we had a vote to get rid of it.
And not to throw one thing out, we was down there yesterday or the day before, yesterday we were down there with Surf Pro. The dehumidifier stopped working, so the humidity down there is 90% right now, so I gotta get a dehumidifier, so.
But if we drain the building, we still need the dehumidifier?
Yeah,
You,
Okay, I just asking that, okay.
I wouldn't,
and, the other issue we're gonna have is the water system. So the water's controlled at 10 Dalton, but it has a branch off going into 8 Dalton. And there's no curb shut offs outside, like the city, just shut the water off outside and have it good. So we
You'd have to put in a shut off valve, right?
Yeah, put a shut off valve in, or we have to put a heat tape on just that shut off area where it comes from the wall.
heat tape's cheap enough.
Yes, it's cheaper than putting a curb in, because if we're gonna flatten the place, you're gonna dead end that one anyway.
I think we put as little money into it as we can and we put it as a warrant item.
Yeah, the garage, my recommendation, garage I keep, because that's a storage area, historical can use, the fire department uses.
I would definitely, when he decides that he's Well, maybe we decide for him that we're no longer gonna be in the rental business. The roof is in good shape, the walls are starting to deteriorate, the eaves have started to rot away.
This
the
is in,
doors-
wait, this is in number 10?
This is number 10.
Okay,
There is mold in the basement that I've taken care of once over by the boiler and that, what is that tank?
That's why we shouldn't have a tenant there, because a village really don't set for tenants. Basically what you have is you have a upjohn system, so everything runs into basically a 40-gallon septic tank in the furnace room, and then it gets pumped into the septic tank.
Oh, so that's what I cleaned up.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Wow.
Hey, sandwich happens, isn't it?
I grew up on a farm. Keep that in mind.
Well, it seems like it's more of a liability.
I said granite, mothball it, put it out to the voters and ask the voters if they wanna stop renting bulk.
Right, and
Bingo.
Agree.
You
And
know,
on top of that, that one that's in 10 is a hoarder. And it's unsafe.
I thought he had gotten rid of a lot of his stuff. I thought he got a storage unit and got a lot of his
They've
stuff
got a
out.
storage room, but he doesn't. he
Well,
doesn't stop
we're
collecting
in
things.
public.
Sorry.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's right.
My suggestion, I believe. I mean, I think we need to look to that. The only caveat I would say that I believe his daughter's a senior. So that we would maybe, instead of stop renting April 1st after the vote, that we stop renting June 1st so that his daughter could finish high school. But somehow I'm thinking perhaps that daughter was gonna finish high school early. I just think we need to be sensitive to that. The
yeah,
person's
and
been a
I
renter for a
don't-
long time.
And I don't have a problem with that, I just
Yeah.
think by the end of next year, we should be done.
We should be done.
think
I
that
agree.
We've had enough down there.
And that's a great place for pickleball court if that's where they decide
well, and
that
that's the
moves
other thing, you
forward.
gotta decide if you got, when you're thinking up this warrant article, it's, stop renting and flatten it.
Yes,
And
put that in the
demolish.
warrant article.
Demolish,
Right,
Right.
right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
And
okay,
then
I'll
give me
make
the-
note of that.
And give me the money so I can tear it down.
Well, even if the garage and everything has to go, I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to down the road to. You put another small garage down there for storage, for stuff like that, but just for a slab.
Slab is there, we just.
Build just the garage without this thing above it, and.
No septic, no,
You
no
know,
plumbing.
even if they don't put football court over there, I mean, it would be a great place to throw down another slab and put a nice covered pavilion.
Yes,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but-
For events,
Right.
and
You're absolutely right.
because that has been brought up.
you could use it for outdoor weddings, and. When we have
That's a
our,
great
the
idea.
beanhole supper, there's more places that people
Oh,
could go.
Absolutely,
Are
David.
you kidding?
You things like that, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah, I
I think we're to the point where it's a money pit.
Yep,
Unfortunately, it got neglected on the structural side of it, and.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have, the house was probably never got ready for rented anyways. Our house was that
if
big.
it was that bad, we probably should.
so are we ready for a motion?
Are you doing the motion?
Oh, go ahead.
It doesn't matter, I mean.
No, go ahead.
I make a motion, we mothball up. Do what we've gotta do to put a pump in and things like that until we can put it out to voters next town meeting to. Give them the
close up
option.
to close up 8,000.
8 and 10.
Well,
Well,
but-
one should be
We
eight.
can't mothball 8 and 10 right now.
Not mothball,
right.
10.
So let's take care of eight first.
We'll deal with the mothballing first.
Yeah.
And that's my motion for now.
I
And
second
then-
that
and then-
motion.
And then when we get ready to do the warrant articles, we can deal with. the
Oh,
warrant
number 10.
article.
Yeah, the 10.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
And in the meantime, maybe find out about school in that situation, because
Yes.
if
I talked to
if
him
not,
yesterday, I'll talk to him, because we
Yeah.
talked about it several times.
yeah,
I'll talk to him.
but that we want to be sensitive
Oh,
to
Right.
to her being a senior and not have that
Demolition,
disruption.
so,
Yeah, and we also have to deal with the company that we've set up to do the rentals too,
Right.
so we can see what our contract is with them too.
Nothing, I don't think anything has been signed.
We haven't
because
signed
there
it.
were
We haven't signed
changes
it because
That
we're
never
waiting
got
for
to
some
Jane,
changes.
so there's never been a signing.
Yeah.
So you're good
Yeah,
there.
we don't have any contract.
We've been trying to work to it, but.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
should-
believe
should
we've
know.
given them the,
I
I
knew the-
believe
I knew
they're
the house
holding a
was burning.
deposit,
They are,
so we will have to work
yes.
the logistics.
So that's my
of it.
motion,
Okay.
all that thing for now.
Okay,
Got it.
all in favor, Peter?
Did we second?
Oh, second.
I second
Yeah,
it.
Carol
Carol
seconded.
did.
Carol seconded. Okay, Peter.
Yes.
Okay, Carol.
Yes,
Dan. I'll vote yes. So 4 yeses, 1 absent. Mothball number 8.
Do you feel weight lifted?
yeah, well,
I
and
bet
then
Corey does.
as you're looking at the warrant articles, that you have a placeholder in there for
I
a
will-
warrant
I will-
article to get rid
I'll
of
be a whole one.
8 or 10, I always get them mixed
Yeah,
up,
I'll be a
the
whole
other
one
one.
either foot.
Got
Yeah,
that.
just so we have that as a placeholder, it doesn't slip past us.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Okay,
Can
great.
I mention one other thing on the other business?
Sure.
I got the email today from Sims for that
Oh.
program that you
mhm,
Approved.
approved me to get.
Yep.
It's spectacular. I just want you guys, it's gonna be spectacular.
Oh, good.
oh,
I
good,
just showed it to Bruce. 30 seconds, you can pull that thing up off that QR code. Cemetery loads right on your regular cell phone, and you do a search, it'll walk you right to it. I haven't done the walkthrough thing yet, but we've used it twice today. It's amazing.
Oh, good.
Well
Super.
worth the money we
Great.
spent on
Great.
Thank you for that
Good.
feedback. Really
it.
appreciate
It was
that.
really good. I even showed.
Yeah, well, I
tried.
tried it out too this afternoon. Yeah,
Excellent.
it's, yeah, works
Good.
very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to
I
hear
think it
that.
will be really good for residents and people that don't live here but have family.
have family
Yeah.
here.
So we are now on burialsite.com for the whole world can search
I'll
us.
send a link out.
Great.
Oh, okay, yeah,
to all
that'd be
of
great.
you. Yep.
Yeah, good.
Long lost relatives from Belgrade, now people can search on it right online.
Well, we have Farnham family in Missouri who have come here walking the cemetery, hunting for grandparents, so,
Wow.
yeah. And she's coming back again Memorial time.
So I'm just trying to get the QR code clear enough to
Mhm.
get it, so we can make it onto a sign and get it posted up there, so. Next couple of weeks, we'll have it all posted and Warner's gonna put it on our website,
Nice.
ready to go.
So we'll have more than one QR code?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think we're gonna do 4
yeah,
or 5.
okay,
Every.
4 or 5 signs.
Yes.
It's all the same
It's
code.
one-
All the same code.
Yeah.
So we have 5 signs for 5 different plans in the cemetery. I think we're gonna put a sign under every one of the plan signs.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
It'll be for everyone that walks up to it.
Does it also do the other cemeteries
No,
in
we
town?
have nothing for the rest of the cemetery.
Okay,
In
all right.
our system.
Another project for another day.
Well, that would be a big project.
Yeah, I mean, once we get the hands on the other cemeteries, it's really all rules.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Let's move on to warrants.
terrific.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Cory.
Thanks, Corey.
Warrants.
Warrants, I move that we approve warrant number 111 in the amount of $23,489.66.
Second,
Any questions about the payroll warrant?
No.
All in favor? Peter,
Yes.
Carol,
yes,
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 4 yeses for 111. I move we approve the BMV warrant number 112 in the amount of $5,545.25.
second,
All in favor? Peter,
Yes.
Dan,
Yeah,
Carol?
yes,
I'll vote yes, 4 yeses, 1 absent. I move we approve the AP warrant number 113 in the amount of $671,379.93.
second,
Any questions?
I had a note on that because there's another salt payment. And I know that came up at our last meeting, so I did some research on the process from last year. I could not find that an RFP went out
Last year,
last year.
yeah.
So it looks like what happened is the state sent their list of pricing for the different, available to the different communities. I show an email that says the board accepted the pricing from the state, and it happens to be the same company. Is it New England?
Yeah, New England, so.
Yeah, okay, so it's the same company that we're using this year. But I could not find in the minutes of June 7 last year, any discussion or vote, so I'm not sure how that happened. But I do show that we notified the state that the board accepted the bid. And that was what we went with. So the company we're utilizing this year, Jason checked around for pricing, went with the bid under the state. And that's what you've been seeing are those deliveries being made. Last year we paid $77.95 a ton. This year the price is $79.10 a ton.
So Jason basically followed the policy that was in place last year.
There was
But-
no,
Except it
I,
didn't come to the select board for approval.
Yeah, and it didn't.
I couldn't find that it did last year. I can't find anything that says that. And it wasn't on my list of RFPs because the RFP didn't go out. So it wasn't on a list for me to carry over. I've added it for 2024. I've made a list.
Yeah, I think we did it 2 different ways over the years. Sometimes with RFP and sometimes we just get the price of the state.
RSU.
RSU and,
Maybe cog.
KD cog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was 1 year was Stevie
And
Call.
we just pulled whichever one was the best.
Right.
because,
yeah,
I mean, there's only three.
Yeah, there's
Even if you
not-
send it on RP, you're still gonna get the
Right,
same bid.
sure, yeah.
So, I think that's what we've done, but it does normally come to the select board.
I just wanted, I know
Great,
that was
thank
a
you.
Yeah.
question. So I-
Yeah, that was the question that we had the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
great.
okay.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, any other question? Any other discussion? On the AP warrant? All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Carol?
Yeah,
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 4 yeses.
can I make a comment? May I make a comment?
You may.
I can. I was looking at all the electricity numbers here. And just, not tonight, but the Center for All Seasons is always huge. And I believe the Center for All Seasons has not gone to LED. That may be something we want to explore.
I'm renting a scissor lift this week.
Yeah,
That's gonna be one of my projects, is to check the lighting and check the insulation up in that attic that I can't get
Okay.
to. And check the power vents that I don't think are power vents in the roof of the Center for All Seasons.
okay.
So,
And then the other question, as we were discussing cost was, how old the refrigerator there is and how much is it sucking for electricity, and does it make sense that we look for a more efficient refrigerator? Nothing to decide tonight, but to put on someone's radar.
Same thing here. I believe this one is the old one from the old town office.
oh, probably.
Pretty sure.
And if so, they're I only say that because I know someone who got a new refrigerator and saved $35 a month in their electric bill, because they have an old refrigerator and that's in their house. So maybe we need to look at that as we're going into budget and to other things, so. I'm sorry, if I didn't say it then, I'd forget it.
That's fine. We still have to buy the new refrigerator.
We still have to buy the new refrigerator, but if they broke even in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So in a year and a half, as we're looking forward and budgeting, we should maybe,
There's also, efficiency main rebates with appliances.
yeah, so,
And you should break even off some of the year and a half here, so this isn't a high-end refrigerator with ice and water in the door and everything else. It's a refrigerator.
so. Anyway, whoever's, is that, I don't know, maybe that goes on your to-do list, but
Probably.
sounds like facilities, so.
Okay,
Okay,
moving on. I move that we approve the payroll warrant number 114 in the amount of $22,632.94.
second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
yeah,
I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses, 1 absent. I move that we approve warrant 115, BMV state payables in the amount of $7,733.88.
second,
All in favor? Peter,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so 4 in favor. 1 absent.
Okay.
Okay, where are we? Lorna, I think we're on to you. Town manager.
Yes, I included that, in your packet, and I did have a note. I was actually going to brief you on the request for the speed limit reduction. On the McGrath, I call it the McGrath Road, but I think
That's how it's spelled.
McGrath.
McGrath, yeah.
This is
Call it
McGrath.
McGrath, it's spelled McGrath.
Okay,
Right.
so I'm not incorrect.
No idea why.
Okay.
Cause that's the way it's always been.
And if it ain't broke, we're not fixing that.
But the gentleman was here tonight and, so he was able to, bring that to your attention and, so I will add that in, you've already heard it.
And that gentleman who was here, that's Arthur Clark's
Son,
son?
yeah, and he built
Really?
a house, right next door to Artie's house.
Wow, I wish I would have known that. We boarded his dog, those crazy big things. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He had a nice turnout for Charlene's,
That was a nice
retirement
time.
party. It was really.
Very
nice.
well done.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
she
I'm
was
sorry, I
really-
missed it.
It was, and some of her family were able to be here, so
Yeah.
that was good too. Yeah, it was really sweet.
Okay,
Good food and good cake.
really good cake.
It was good cake.
She will be missed.
Absolutely,
Miss Sharon.
absolutely.
All right,
Okay.
any other business? I move that we adjourn.
Woo-hoo.
Oh, actually, I do have
Oh.
a question.
Okay,
I had something.
oh, you do? Okay, go ahead. Dan first.
Okay,
No, Dan.
I just, what is the outcome of that registered letter?
We have one more signature.
Oh.
We have one more signature needed.
On the certified letter?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can send it without it. If you all want me to send it. I have 4 signatures, so we have majority.
I know I came before I went to Florida, unless they changed the letter on.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
one signature missing, so I am happy to send it with 4. If you want, I can send it out tomorrow.
I think can't sit forever.
No, I
Yeah,
think it needs.
I can
to
send it
sit.
out tomorrow.
Yeah, I think,
think
because
you
it's
should
legal
send
at
it
3,
tomorrow.
so I
Yes.
think 4 is
Yes.
more
More
than
is
enough.
fine.
Okay, we'll do.
All right,
Okay,
okay.
yeah. Mine's for executive session.
Oh, okay. Be that way.
Hey, Laura, can I get you send me the board packets? I ain't been getting them for the last few board meetings. Would you please? Thank you. Y'all
Good
have a
night.
Gentlemen,
Okay, good night.
have a great night.
You too.
I'll shut the door.
Okay,
Please.
I did.
okay, so I move that we exit the select board meeting.
Second.
Second.
At.
At 8:46 PM.
And seconded?
Dan seconded it.
You're gonna enter.
All in favor, Peter,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, 4 yeses in favor of executive session, in favor of leaving the meeting.
Okay.
I move that we enter executive session at 8:46.
Second,
All in favor, Peter,
Yes.
Carol? Dan?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, 4 in favor.
Yeah.
Recording.
Yeah. I don't think I want, do I want to, I'm not ending. Am I just
Just to stop.